there's some people that like, I'll get an email or I'll get a DM and it'll stand out and I'll think, that's interesting. And good friend of the channel, Genius by Birth here, who's probably in the live chat if you're there now watching. So she sent me this dream. It was something else, but then she just kind of included this little last tagline. By the way, I had a dream that I met Trump in a Christmas tree farm, and he had straw hair. Weird. Now, what's interesting was I had a whole show about Saint Nick. Whole show. And I knew it was important, and I just, for whatever reason, more news came and more things came, and I kind of just, I shelved it because I didn't feel like it was right. I didn't see the connection yet. Sometimes I got to wait until I see things start to come together. And when they come together in such an inexplicable way, I'm like, oh, I got to do a show because these are some breadcrumbs that made a nice matzah loaf, which is not leavened, which leaven is pride. The idea is that you think you know it all. So I wrote, Christmas tree is Satan Claus. Don't take that to mean you can't celebrate or have Coca-Cola statues of Saint Nick or anything, but it makes sense to see Trump there. Trees, and then I said, are the trees alive or dead? See, like, when I thought the trees would be dead, personally, but I didn't want to be like, oh, the trees must have been dead, because, I mean, who knows? For whatever reason, this dream was brought to me, so I asked a question. I say, are they alive or dead? Were they withered? Were they losing their needles? ? And then I said, straw hair is a scarecrow. Scarecrow. Ironically, my next show, I have St. Nick on the plate. What are the odds, right? What are the odds? That was the moment that I knew that I needed to do a St. Nick show. We're going to get there. Oh, it's wild. So I wrote, so she was I guess she was buying a couple of trees, and I'll read that to you in a second. So you were buying a couple of trees. It was interesting to me. Seems like the trees were what Trump was selling because he was taking pictures with people, according to her dream. And I said, trees are men and women. Jesus revealed this. To see what they were doing means you didn't buy into it, because she said she only picked up a couple of trees just to see what was going on, which was smart, I said. And then she responded, wow. And if you take a look, there's a picture of a tree and a picture of, obviously, even if you look at your thumb, your finger, you can see that your fingerprint is the exact same as the cambium layer of a tree. I see men as trees, Jesus said. And she continued to write that there were trees that weren't cut down along the path, but there were people trying to take the trees firmly planted in the ground. But most of them were easily plucked up. When I read that, I was like, if that isn't such a great picture of people today spiritually, easily plucked up, bought and sold. Some were rooted firmly in the ground they couldn't take up. Is that you? I hope it's you. And if you don't feel like you are rooted firmly in the faith of God, you can be right now. It's that easy. You just dedicate your life to that. That's it. You give your life to God. That's it. Say, I want to be used. Teach me the truth no matter what the cost, like my t-shirt says. This is all that a person needs to do. This is it. You have to live for more. You got to understand that the idea of who you think you are kind of took over, kind of robbed, because we're supposed to be the temple of God, and turned the temple into a marketplace. What do you think Jesus does, Christ does, when Christ rises in your heart? He turns over the tables. He sets all of the sacrifices free, all the birds, the pigeons, and he sets them all free. He turns over the tables of the money changers. He takes a whip with cords and he casts everybody out. Because only the Spirit of the living God should reside in you. Only hope and truth and love and peace and hope, that should be residing in you. Not worrying about this or worrying about that. Those are the cares of the world. Those are the thorns. Paul had a problem with it. Those are the thorns that strangle the seed that's planted. Those trees that were planted, easily plucked up because it didn't have good, solid earth to go into to begin with. Santa Claus, Christmas trees. And of course, I want to point out that my thumbnail, I'm just going to show you a picture of it again, then we'll come back to this is not saying at all that he is, the Antichrist. I'm not saying anything about that. I just thought it was funny because she had the dream and he was selling Christmas trees. I just thought that it was funny for him to make Xmas great again. Do you remember Elon has the X app? That is that letter is Christ. It's interesting. Christmas, make it great again. All of this stuff, people, just makes me very excited. Especially since, while all this is going on, we find out that St. Nicholas, his tomb has been discovered. Now, where his tomb was discovered is very interesting, because many thought that it was in Kilkenny, Ireland. They thought that it was in Ireland, don't you know? That's right. Do you know why they thought that? Do you know why? Because the Templars brought them there. The bones, back in the day. A saint? If you had somebody that was anointed by the Spirit of God, those bones were powerful relics. They still, to this day, they have relics of all of the people that they consider to be powerful people. Relics. So supposedly, this relic of the bones of St. Nick were brought back. That was the legend. The holy figure who inspired Satan Claus lived between, obviously Ethan doesn't know that Santa exists now. He's 11. But we were talking about this. My oldest, Noah, who, is just such a remarkable young man. All my children are. But we were talking about this, and it's interesting how you have all these things that you're told to believe in, and parents who you're supposed to trust. And I've been guilty of it too, because I was raised with Santa Claus and all that stuff, and I've been guilty of it. All my children, they all got excited to go downstairs to see what Santa brought. They're all excited to see if the Easter Bunny, but I know it's all pagan. I know it is. I also knew that I had freedom, just like Paul, to go into a temple where they had meat sacrificed to like Dagon or whatever gods, and then eat it, have a meal inside of it would be like the equivalent of going into like a satanic church and eating, some lamb that was sacrificed to Baphomet. Paul said that because it's baloney to him. He knows that there's only one true God. He knows that there's nothing unless you worship it. Like people say, because of my set, I have like an elephant, or I'll have, or I have stuff in the background, right? And they'll say, oh, it's idolatry. Look at all the idols. You know what an idol is? Do you have a cross with Jesus on it? Do you have pictures of Jesus around your house with the beard? Now, if I had Jesus in the background, no one would say anything. They'd be like, oh, there's a man of God. But you got an elephant and a bird. You got a couple of candles, and all of a sudden, whoa! It's interesting. Idolatry is when you take the God that says, you shall not compare me to anything in the earth, beneath the earth, above the earth, in the sea, anything, nothing. In Romans, they've taken the image of an incorruptible God, and they've compared him to like the image of beasts, four-footed things, creatures, man, corruptible man. Compared God to the image of a corruptible man. Wild. So, I did that. I did the Santa Claus thing and everything else, but you know what? I also knew with Ethan, I had to tell him. I said, this is just a thing. It's just a thing. And I probably shouldn't have told you that. But I want to tell you what is real. See, that's the thing. Now you got to go down that road, right? Because you just taught your kids. That something is real. It's not real. There was a real St. Nick. Then the Coca-Cola company came around and twisted that and turned it into something. Satan Claus. Dressed in what color, by the way? Red. He's going to find out who's naughty and nice. He's going to give you coal if he doesn't like you. Come down your chimney. It's all very interesting. especially if you get the picture of Trump, because he is going to definitely make things hard for the people that have come against him. They've been naughty. They're not going to like it too much. But if they've been nice to him, they may be rewarded. Just like one of the characters in my novel. It's very interesting. So the Templars, ironically, brought the bones supposedly to that. But now they found out that he's actually in Turkey, and it is a very famous find. They say it's probably one of the biggest and most important finds in a long time. Saint Nick, what's going on? This is big news. Santa's story is being told everywhere. Saint Nicholas was born in what is now Turkey and served as a bishop in a small town that was once known as Myra, which sounds a lot like Mary to me, or Miriam to me, which means rebellion. I'm not saying that's what Myra means. I didn't look it up, but I think it probably does. Having been around since the waning days of what empire? Rome. Rome, you say? Rome? Quinky-dinky-doo is what I say. All of this, very interesting. Supposedly, he chopped down a demon-possessed tree, stopped a storm, saved girls from prostitution, and he also brought people back to life at the Council of Nicaea, supposedly. They could have just been unconscious, and really, when you resurrect somebody from the dead, it's somebody that is dead spiritually speaking. I'm not saying it doesn't literally happen too. I'm just saying that I'm more concerned with somebody's heart than somebody coming back, being risen back from the dead, because you know what? Even if somebody saw somebody come back from the dead, they would explain it away. The miracle would mean nothing. But somebody's heart, someone coming back from the dead of ignorance, to be carnally minded is death, the scriptures say. To be carnally minded is death. The wages of sin is death. When you sin, you become a carnal person. To be carnally minded is death, but the spirit of life and truth and hope. So having somebody be risen back from the dead, it's like you pull away the tomb door. That stone that's in front of the tomb, you pull it away. And you say, hey, let me get this. Let me show you clearly. Rise, Lazarus, rise. Now take off those stinky grave clothes and live a new life. That's you. Take off your stinky clothes. The pool of Siloam doesn't have a sewer over anymore. Get yourself clean spiritually. If you want to take a shower while you're doing it, do it. Sometimes I like taking a shower, and I do a lot of praying in the shower. I love praying in the shower. I love it. I just love it. There's something so just rejuvenating about it. I pray all the time. And if you're not praying all the time, you should. Who else you talk to? Talk to God. Talk to God. Santa's real story is a little sus, especially now that I find that it's connected to the Roman Empire and also the Templars. Uncanny timing, don't you think? Look at the name of the movie. But take a look at the font for that word knight. Looks like the Knights Templar, doesn't it? Very interesting. Very interesting to me that Violent Night is coming out. So strange. Is this what we have in store? That's basically where I got the thumbnail idea from. I thought that it would be pretty funny to remake it. It was a lot harder than I thought, by the way. Life is filled with challenges. Life is filled. This is what's happening? Is a violent night coming? Is a red wave coming? Is a red sea coming? Is a hunt coming? Or we got to worry about stuff? Or are we just going to be okay and follow Moses? That impulse, that thing in our heart that's telling us, get out. Get out of your way. Forgive yourself. Stop looking at what could be and what possibly can happen, and stop worrying about whether or not this is going to happen or that's going to happen. Stop tweeting out angry things and blaming other people for the reason you are in the position you are in. I'm promising you, you are exactly where God has you. And if you want better, do better with what you have. How do you do better with what you have? You become grateful for it. even if you got nothing. But a car, I got to tell you, I have a lot of people that are living in their car. I can't like send people money or anything. I just getting by. I say to them, because I know faith has power, right? I say, week's time, a new door is going to open. I do this. If you're in the chat, and I've done this to you because I've done it a lot of times, doors open, family members come to their aid, jobs are found, things change. You're not stuck. You're not stuck. You may be facing the Red Sea, but don't be the swimmer. Come on. Unless you're a really good swimmer. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to be tired as opposed to just letting God lead you through. The violent night, the timing, strange. So the relics were brought during the Crusades, of all things. According to the legend, the knights, possibly members of the Templar, brought the bones of St. Nick to this area in Ireland, which I went to when I was about 15 years old. Oh, don't you know? Lucky Charms. You know, Alyssa actually also made me aware that Hanukkah and Christmas are going to be on the same day. I just thought that was kind of cool. It happens. I think it's going to happen again in 2024. But so we have all of these things kind of conjoining. Moon, Mars, Elnath, spectacular displays in the sky and everything else.
Thanks for watching Jacob Israel. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this channel around. If these shows have helped you, help Jacob to reach more any way you can, and have the best day ever.
Click it.